Start with Manchester City, LB, and yourself, because big news that Pep Guardiola is very close to signing his new extension at your club, which I think we kind of briefly touched on last week. But additionally, David Ornstein has said, and I feel like this is a big win when it comes to your 115 case, that win, lose, or draw, he is expected to stay on. So even if you're punished and there's points deductions or relegations, trophy stripped, whatever the severity, even if it's just a fine, your manager is going to stay on. That must be music to your ears as a City fan.
Yeah, well, it's bittersweet, really, because we know that it's coming to the end. You know what I mean? We know that this is probably going to be it, man. Like, we've got one more year of him next year, probably at this moment in time. Like you say, that's the latest news. David Ornstein saying that he's going to sign a 1 year deal. That, I think, at that point, I think that's it. So it's obviously good because I'd rather have him than not have him. But at the same time, it's like I've got to sit here now for like the next 18 months knowing that he's leaving the football club. So it's a bit of a bittersweet situation. But you know what, as well, because I think we kind of need it, because I'm looking at the managers out there and they're all a bit inexperienced. They're all like decent. Like, you look at Alonso and that people be like, yeah, but Alonso went unbeaten in the Bundesliga. He did, but it's one season, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, could that have just been a bit of a fluke? Maybe, maybe not. Give him another year, like this year and then next year. You got Vinny Kompany at Bayern Munich, see what he does. And you've got obviously other young managers coming through as well. So I actually think that we need this, not just because we need Pep to stay at our football club, but I'm not convinced. I'm having these debates all the time with City fans about who should be our next manager, mate. And we're all in different camps about who we should go for. Like, I'm kind of just like, go for the vibes and just get Vinny in. Some people want Amorim from Lisbon. I'm not really sold on that. Some people want Alonso, which is fair dues. He done really well last year. He got to a Europa League final. He won the league, but it's one season. So, and then you got some people who want Don Carlo and just go and get him and just, have him for 1 or 2 years. And then some people are like, no, we need a project manager. We need someone who... So it's like we're all in very different camps at the moment. So I think give us 1 more year, like obviously this season and next season. And I think then we'll be in a situation where we kind of have a better understanding of who to go for. If Vinny's tearing it up at Bayern, if Alonso's doing really well and he don't want to go Real Madrid, we maybe can get him. So it's needed, but at the same time, it's sad because we know it's coming to an end, man. And I'm sure you had that when Fergie was at United. You know that like it's coming to an end, and you're all kind of like, fuck, like it's great that you still got him, but it's just a bit.
Our situation was a little different because he kind of, I think it was in the March or maybe even April, announced it. So we didn't really have time to dwell on it. The fact is that you guys, I'm not going to call it death by 1,000 cuts because I think you'll be successful in that time. But it is that element. I mean, it is going to come to an end, and he's such a significant part of your recent history. And as well run as you are, as brilliantly operated as you are behind the scenes, there is no shadow of a doubt that I always think you're going to be competitive afterwards. I don't look at Liverpool with Slot, which we'll get into later. But I get the fear factor. We had it with Fergie, and there's only ever, in my opinion, been a handful of managers in English football. I can't speak for the Europe. I don't watch it closely enough. In the last 70, 80, 90 years, who leaving a club is going to have such a profound effect in terms of you can still be a good team, but you may never, ever be this good again. And that's not a dig. That isn't me wishing that on you. That's just the reality of the situation, because Peps and Fergies and Paisleys, they come along every so often. And I'll be honest with you, right now in world football, there isn't a manager that I see on that level. So I still think you'll win trophies. You'll still probably win league titles. But this level of dominance that you've got is likely to come to an end in terms of the volume that you've won in that period. And
I mean,
I get the dwelling feeling.
Yeah, no, I'm not an idiot, man. I know for a fact that like when Pep Guardiola leaves, like we're not going to be as dominant. I'm not delusional. We're not going to win 4 or 5 Premier Leagues in a row. Come on, man. Like, what we're doing here. I think we'll just go back to where we were before that. When we had Pellegrini, when we had Mancini, we'll win a Premier League, maybe go 2-3 years without winning one, then win another one. We'll win a couple of FA Cups. I don't think we're going to fall off. I don't think we're going to do what United did, because I think we can learn from United. I think what United have done, and to a bit of an extent Arsenal, is they've sort of shown Liverpool and they've sort of shown City what not to do when you have an iconic manager like Wenger or Fergie, what not to do when they leave. So Liverpool can learn from that, obviously bringing Slot in, and I think City can. So I don't think we're going to fall off, be miles away, but we're obviously not going to be competing. Well, we're not going to be winning Premier Leagues every year. I'm not stupid, but listen, yeah, it's one of them, man. Listen, obviously, if we can get it for one more year, hopefully win 2 more Premier Leagues, make it 6 in a row, that'd be amazing. But after that, bro, like it's it's sad, man. It is sad.
You won't fall off like Man United. We fell off partly because Fergie left. But the main reason we fell off is we weren't being run particularly well prior to him leaving. And then you guys are not going to see Pep and... Is it pronounced Tiki? Is that how you pronounce his name?
Yeah, Tixi, yeah.
Tiki. You're not going to have them two leave. You're not going to replace them with accountants, marketers, and bankers.
Yeah.
That's the fundamental difference. You know, you're not going to go to JP Morgan and say, let's go and take one of their CEOs and let him run our club. Have you got experience of running a football club? No, but let's see what happens. So you guys will remain competitive in exactly the same way that Liverpool have. It's why I was shocked in the summer that people were talking about Liverpool being at the beginning of a rebuild. These rebuilds don't exist in the way people are making out at clubs that have been well run for a long period of time. There's transitional periods and changing of the guards in certain areas, but I don't necessarily call it a rebuild or a restructuring of the football club. It's a new head coach or a couple of new players or a new scout comes in. I wouldn't call that a rebuild. And I don't think City are going to struggle with that either. Like, how do you see it, Potsy? Because you must be rubbing your hands at the prospects of City maybe not being as good. Good, but not as good. It must be something you're excited about as an Arsenal fan.
Yeah, I mean, Pep is the main factor as to why they're so consistently good, but I don't expect Man City to fall off. I mean, if I'm honest with you, out of the replacement coaches that LB's going, I hope they get Vincent Kompany. That's the one I hope they get, because I know that he's the one that I'm not too sure about. I wasn't too sure about him at Burnley. I know they like that sentimental thing that he was so good for them, that he's going to be great for them. But for me, I think he's the weakest coach out of those mentioned. So hopefully they go for him. If they get a Xabi Alonso or a Ruben Amorim, I think they've got a style of play, a young coach they can grow with, and someone that has proven to be successful already with what they're doing. I think Vincent Kompany is still trying to become successful, unless you think that winning the Championship is fantastic and you can now go and do it with a Premier League club. See what he does in Bundesliga, that's for sure. He could go and win it there. But whoever they get, it's going to be nowhere near the level of Pep Guardiola. All I will say on Pep staying is he must be pretty, I think anyway, he must know they're probably going to be okay with 115 if he's staying on there, I think. Or he doesn't care and he'll just do his final year, whatever. And if they get down into the Championship or whatever, like people are hoping, then he'll just go there for a year and then he'll leave. But I'd be stunned if Manchester City are playing Championship football or League Two, whatever people are thinking. I think it'll be at fine at best. And he'll just crack on for his final year. Hopefully it is his final year and he doesn't have a madness and just think, yeah, I'm going to stay here forever, like LB wants him to. There will be a drop-off, right, 100%. But I just don't see that Manchester City are going to be this club that KDB goes, Bernardo goes, John Stones, all these guys that have hit 30 go, yeah, we're off with Pep, see you later, and Man City start again. Like, they're going to get a decent coach, you know, and it's a very, very exciting job for someone. Do you know what I'm saying? But look, I hope there's a fall off, of course. And I think at the moment it's about Arsenal making sure they're best placed to win it while he's here, because a lot of people I've spoken to have said, I bet Arsenal can't wait, and then they can finally win the league. I want to win while Pep's here. The last thing I want is to win the league when he goes and everyone goes, wow, you had to wait for Klopp and Pep to leave before Arteta could win, because that's what it will be. So for me, I want to be winning it. That's why I wanted to win it last year when Klopp was still here, and I want to win it this year big time. But it's going to be difficult, man. They are a top side, and they have got the best manager in the world. And how do you get near to replacing that? You can't.
Well, yeah. I think there's a few things there. I think, firstly, there's going to be a drop off, but not to this point of they're going to become a top 6 team. The drop off is going to be a team that's getting like mid 90 points to a team that might get mid 80 points. So still a phenomenal side, because I think someone like Pep, compared to most other managers in the world, is worth, they always used to say top managers are worth an extra 9 to 10 points a year. I think when you're the level of a Fergie, the level of a Pep, the level of a Paisley, I think that's an extra, you could argue that's an extra 15 to 20 points a year. Because Pep, you've seen Pep have a team with like KDB missing all season, still win the league. You've seen Pep have no number 9 and find a way to win the league. If he does it this year, he has lost his you could argue he's best player. A lot of City fans did think that Rodri is their best player, and he's still got them through. I just don't see any other manager in the world right now that's as good as him, especially not in league football. Even Carlo Ancelotti, who is very good, he's one of the greatest we've ever seen. At league level, he's nowhere near the level of consistency, game in, game out, that Pep is. And you know that by their record. And they're both, by the way, managed very powerful teams in multiple countries. Pep on a domestic level in the league is a level above. And you can argue that the levels of consistency he's shown in the 15 years he's been a manager, I think he's only not won the league twice. It's ridiculous. So there is going to be a drop off there. But as you say, I would implore rivals of City to don't start getting too giddy, like they're just going to fall off completely and suddenly have a season where they're mid-table. They are still going to be in the title races. They are still going to be there or thereabouts. That's going to happen. On the Arsenal thing, I wanted to throw this Arsenal thing back to you. I know you want to win when Pep's here, and I get why. But if you don't win this season or next season, let's say Pep wins them both or Liverpool win them both, he then leaves and then you win back-to-back Prems. Would you be less happy with those victories? Would it feel hollow because you didn't beat Pep?
No, listen, I don't care. Win the league, right? I'm not going to sit there and go, I wish that it was Pep that we beat. I don't really care who we beat. We just got to beat what's in front of us. But I don't want to be waiting that long. Time's up. We're going to get onto a Arsenal section. But for me, time's up. So we've got to be winning now. It's not about waiting for when Pep goes. It would feel better if Pep was here because we would finally get across the line against the greatest manager ever. And last season, I wanted Klopp to be there as well. So we could actually say in the freeway race, it was us that got ahead of Klopp and Pep. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. And if I'm honest with you, I didn't think we were going to win the league this year. I still don't think we're going to win the league this year. And it looks now that Pep's staying, we're going to have to try and get past him this year and next year now as well. So, look, I don't think it matters who you beat to the Premier League. Just win the cup, win the trophy. But there would be something a little bit more special to get one across the line because Pep's been fantastic for the best part of 7 to 8 years now. And I look at what he's done at Man City and I get jealous of what they've won. And of course, most people do. They want to win what Manchester City have won in the last decade, right? So that's exactly where I'm at, man. But it's going to be tough. It is going to be tough. Look, I'm not one of these people who says the reason we haven't won the league is because of Pep. I actually think the reason Arsenal haven't won the league in the last 2 years is because of Arsenal and Arteta. That's the reason we have not won the league. It's not, oh my God, if it weren't for Pep making us lose to Villa and if it weren't for Pep making us drop points to Fulham and West Ham, it's got nothing to do with Pep. That was us, right? So when we go 8 points clear and we don't win the league, you got to look at yourself. When you go to a stage of just beat Aston Villa and you win the league and you don't beat Aston Villa, well, that's our fault, right? So you need to look at that. But he is a level above everybody else. And already, if we go into the weekend and we do not win, I'll be thinking, this is going to be hard now because it's Man City. Whereas other league titles before, you'd think, oh, crikey, we drop points again here. But at least Man City are going to lose 3 or 4 games this year and we'll be all right. You don't think they are. You know, they're pretty much faultless the whole year. So, and they're not even playing well at the moment. I look at Manchester City, they're not playing well. Defensively, they're weak. They're the weakest they've been in a long time. They're still sitting fine. Then they're chilling. They're all right because they know the best is yet to come. And that's where we're not at. Arsenal and Liverpool are clinging on to the fact that, oh, I hope we keep up with some consistency here. We know Manchester City are going to be there or thereabouts. You don't know if Arsenal and Liverpool are going to be because we have seen them drop off before. Whereas with Manchester City, they just don't, man. So that's where we're at under Pep. It's that good.